The skies above Washington, D.C. roiled with the unfamiliar hum of alien engines. Below, a mix of fear and awe swept through the crowds as the massive Gathron Gladiator ship, a dark silhouette against the midday sun, descended with purpose. World leaders scrambled. Military bases worldwide were on high alert, and news channels broadcasted nonstop as humanity faced its newest and most unexpected challenge. In the Pentagon Situation Room, a cluster of military officials and a hastily assembled team of diplomats and scientists watched the live feed. Among them was Jack Riley, a Navy SEAL trainer, whose experience with unconventional warfare had quickly brought him to the forefront of the crisis management team. "General, they're broadcasting something," an aide spoke up, adjusting the volume on the speaker system. The room fell silent as a voice, eerily calm and articulate, resonated through the speakers. "People of Earth, I am Kravax, champion of the Gathron Empire. We have traveled through stars to find worthy opponents. Our challenge is simple. Face me in combat and prove your worth. Decline, and it will be seen as an acknowledgement of your inferiority and a surrender of your planet." The room erupted into murmurs and whispers. Jack leaned forward, his gaze fixed on the screen displaying the towering figure of Kravax, who stood clad in armor that seemed to absorb the light around him. General Carter, a stern man with decades of military service, turned to Jack. "Riley, thoughts?" Jack's reply was thoughtful. "Kravax isn't just a fighter, he's a symbol. They use these challenges to break the will of civilizations before there's even a fight. We can't let that happen." Dr. Helen Choi, the team's xenobiologist, nodded in agreement. "Their psychology is built around combat and dominance. If we show fear, it emboldens them." "And if no one fights?" another general asked, his voice tinged with concern. "Then we lose more than just face," Jack responded gravely. "We need someone who understands more than just how to fight. We need someone who understands how to win against impossible odds." The room's attention was back on the general. Carter's eyes swept over his team, stopping at Jack. "And where do we find such a person?" Jack stood, the decision clear in his eyes. "You're looking at him. I'll train for this fight. It's not just about physical strength. It's about strategy, adaptability, and using their arrogance against them." Carter studied him for a moment, then nodded slowly. "All right, Riley, prepare for the challenge. Dr. Choi, I want you to assist him with everything we know about the Gathron physiology and combat style. We need to play this smart." As the meeting adjourned, Jack and Helen lingered behind. "You realize what you're getting into, right?" Helen asked, concern evident in her voice. Jack smiled slightly. "I've been in tough spots before, Helen, but this one, it's not just about survival. It's about making sure we all survive. I'll need all the help I can get." Together, they walked out, stepping into preparations for a confrontation that would decide the fate of their world. Jack knew the road ahead would be fraught with perils unlike any he had faced before. Yet the determination to protect his planet galvanized his spirit as he began to plan for the greatest fight of his life. Inside a sprawling military base, converted into a training ground and think tank, Jack Riley's day began before sunrise. The cold morning air was thick with the tension of impending conflict as he met with his team, a hand-picked group of experts from various military and scientific backgrounds, tasked with one impossible goal: defeat Kravax. As Jack entered the facility, he was greeted by Mike Henderson, a former tactical instructor with whom Jack had served in multiple tours. "Morning, Jack. Ready to start the impossible?" Mike asked, clapping him on the shoulder. "Every day we delay is a day they think we're just sitting scared," Jack replied, stepping into the gear room where suits of armor and racks of weaponry were being modified. Dr. Liam Walsh, the team's engineer specializing in combat technologies, approached with a tablet showing designs for a new type of armor. "Jack, take a look at this. We're integrating lightweight composite materials for better mobility and adding shock absorbers to reduce impact from heavy blows. We need you agile against a brute like Kravax." Jack nodded appreciatively. "Speed over strength. I like it, Liam. What about weapons?" "We're customizing a combat staff that can extend and retract. It's reinforced with a carbon fiber core for strength and flexibility, plus I've added a few surprises, Liam said with a grin. Training sessions were intense and grueling. Jack worked closely with Mike, sparring for hours, analyzing each move for efficiency and weakness. Meanwhile, Dr. Helen Choi would observe, taking notes, ensuring that every piece of information they had on the Gathron's physiology was used to Jack's advantage. During a short break, as Jack hydrated and caught his breath, Major Tom Saunders walked in. A strategist with experience in unconventional warfare, Tom brought a different perspective. "We need to throw him off, Jack. Kravax is used to winning. He might not be prepared for someone who doesn't play by the usual rules." "Psychological warfare?" Jack pondered, wiping sweat from his brow. "Exactly. We push him to make mistakes, make him angry, make him careless," Tom detailed. Jack resumed training, this time focusing on unexpected maneuvers and tactics designed to frustrate and confuse. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the team gathered in the video room to review footage of Kravax's previous fights. Mike pointed at the screen. "See that? He overextends after a heavy swing. That's your in, Jack. You've got to be quick and hit hard." "Yeah, and watch here," Liam added, rewinding the footage. "His armor has weak joints at the elbows and knees. Aim for those if you can." The days turned into nights and back into days as the team tirelessly prepared. One evening, while reviewing battle strategies, Jack looked over at his team, exhausted yet unyielding. "We're getting there," he said confidently. "Every one of you is pushing the limits of what we thought possible. We're not just going to face him, we're going to beat him." Their final session before the duel was more mental than physical. They gathered around, going over the plan repeatedly until it was ingrained. "You know," Jack started, glancing around at each of his team members, "whatever happens out there, I couldn't have asked for a better crew. We've done everything we can. Now it's showtime." The men nodded, a silent pact forming among them. They were more than a team now. They were comrades bound by a shared mission that was greater than any of them could have imagined. As night fell, Jack spent the remaining hours in solitude, meditating and visualizing the fight. The next morning, as the sun rose, he was not just Jack Riley, the trainer. He was humanity's champion, ready to face the might of an alien warrior. Dawn broke with a tension that could be sliced by a knife. The arena, a massive structure built overnight by the Gathron, stood imposingly at the edge of the city, its dark metal gleaming under the early morning sun. Crowds, kept at a safe distance, murmured and shuffled, their nervous energy palpable as they awaited the historic duel. Inside a tent set up as Jack's final prep area, the air was thick with anticipation. Jack, suited in his custom armor, checked each piece meticulously with the help of Liam and Mike. "Mobility checks out, and all gear is responsive," Liam reported, scrolling through diagnostics on a tablet. Mike handed Jack the combat staff, its surface a matte black, segmented and sleek. "Remember, it's as much a shield as it is a weapon. Use it wisely." General Carter stepped into the tent, his face stern but his eyes betraying a hint of admiration. "Jack, it's time. You're not just fighting for Earth's pride. You're proving that we won't submit to threats. Make him respect you." Jack nodded, his jaw set. "We'll give them a show they won't forget." As they approached the arena, the sound of the alien crowd grew, a cacophony of roars and alien chants, the atmosphere electric with anticipation. Kravax stood at the center, towering and formidable, his armor reflecting a sinister gleam. The announcer's voice, booming and unnerving, filled the arena. "Representing the Gathron Empire, the undefeated champion Kravax, and for Earth, the human challenger, Jack Riley." Jack entered the arena, his team at his back until the last possible moment. The gate clanged shut behind him, leaving him facing Kravax across the sandy floor. Kravax spoke first, his voice thundering across the field. "Human, you bring courage to an impossible fight. Let us see if your spirit matches your boldness." Jack twirled his staff, finding its balance, his voice steady. "Let's see if your reputation matches your arrogance." The duel began with Kravax charging, a predictable move, but with a speed that belied his size. Jack dodged, using his staff to parry a blow that would have crushed him had it landed. The crowd roared, some with bloodlust. others with the thrill of the spectacle. Kravax swung again, a wide arc meant to catch Jack off guard. Jack ducked and rolled away, coming up quickly to land a solid hit on Kravax's knee joint with the staff. The alien stumbled, surprised by the pain and the agility of his opponent. "Good hit!" Mike shouted from the sidelines, his voice barely audible over the crowd. Jack pressed his advantage, moving swiftly around Kravax, looking for another opening. Kravax recovered, his movements now more guarded, his swings more calculated. The alien adapted quickly, learning from Jack's tactics. The battle continued, each combatant landing and dodging blows, the earth beneath them scuffed and scarred from their movements. Jack felt the strain in his muscles, his breaths becoming heavier, but his focus never wavered. Then, a misstep. Jack aimed for Kravax's side, but the alien anticipated the move, grabbing the staff and yanking Jack forward. With a swift motion, Kravax threw Jack across the arena, his body slamming into the ground with a thud that silenced the crowd for a breath. Jack lay there, winded, pain shooting through his ribs. Kravax approached, confident of his impending victory. But Jack wasn't done. Using his staff, he pushed himself up, meeting Kravax's eyes with a defiant glare. The alien paused, perhaps recognizing the unyielding spirit of his opponent. Jack took the moment to charge, swinging with all his remaining strength at Kravax's exposed neck. The hit landed, more forceful than any before, sending Kravax reeling back. The horn sounded, signaling the end of the round. Both fighters were battered, but both stood resilient. As Jack walked back to his corner, the team rushed to him, checking his injuries and prepping him for the next encounter. "You did more than survive, Jack. You made him respect you," Tom said, clapping him on the shoulder. Jack nodded, catching his breath. "One more round. We finish this." The crowd, once wholly alien in their support, now murmured with uncertainty. Jack had done the unthinkable. He had stood toe-to-toe with Kravax and held his ground. The human spirit, embodied in one man, had turned a spectacle into a testament of courage, and the next round would only raise the stakes. The aftermath of the first duel left Jack bruised but unbowed, his body a map of purples and blues, but his spirit undiminished. Back at the military base, the medical team busied themselves around him, their expressions a mix of concern and admiration. Dr. Alan Bates, the lead medical officer, applied a cooling gel to Jack's ribs. "You're lucky, Jack. It's badly bruised, but nothing's broken. You'll be sore, but you can fight again after some rest." Jack nodded, his focus already shifting to the next encounter. "We need to adjust the strategy. He's fast, faster than we expected." Mike Henderson, leaning against the wall, arms crossed, replied, "And strong. But you got inside his guard. That's our edge." Liam Walsh entered the room, tablet in hand, filled with data and analysis from the fight. "I've been reviewing the footage. You're right about his speed. I think I can adjust the armor to be lighter, sacrifice a bit of protection for more agility." Jack sat up, wincing slightly. "Do it. I need to move faster." Tom Saunders joined them, spreading out a tactical map on a nearby table. "Let's rethink the approach. You've shown you can hit him. Now let's make sure every hit counts." The group huddled around the map, plotting positions and maneuvers. Dr. Helen Choi added her observations on Kravax's physiology. "His recovery rate is impressive. We need continuous pressure. Don't give him a moment to regroup." The discussion was technical and intense, each member contributing from their expertise. Jack, despite his exhaustion, absorbed every word, every suggestion. In the days that followed, Jack's training regimen was adjusted. His team worked around the clock, enhancing his gear, refining his tactics. Liam introduced the updated armor, lighter and equipped with reactive padding that stiffened on impact. Mike took Jack through a series of drills, focusing on mobility. Remember, it's not just about dodging, it's about repositioning for a counterattack. As Jack's body healed, his mind stayed sharp, reviewing every detail of the first duel, learning from each moment. The team simulated Kravax's movements, allowing Jack to practice new techniques tailored to exploit the observed weaknesses. One evening, after a long session, Jack and his team sat around, exhausted yet energized. They reviewed the latest simulation data, which showed improved response times and strike efficiency. "You're getting there, Jack. Liam said, looking over the data. "The new gear is performing well, and you're moving faster." Jack nodded, his eyes on the screen. "It's not just about being faster or stronger. It's about being smarter. We know he can be hurt now, and we know he can be surprised." Major Saunders chimed in. "Exactly. Use that. Keep him off balance. Make him react to you instead of the other way around." The strategy session stretched into the night, each member of the team dedicated to giving Jack every possible advantage. The unity and collective purpose forged a bond that went beyond professional. They were a brotherhood born in the crucible of this unprecedented challenge. As the night wound down, Jack looked around at his team, their faces illuminated by the glow of the screens. "Thanks, everyone. We're going into this next round better prepared than anyone could have expected. Let's make sure it counts." The team dispersed to catch a few hours of sleep, leaving Jack alone with his thoughts. He reviewed the strategies, visualized the arena, and prepared himself mentally. He wasn't just fighting for survival anymore. He was fighting to win, to prove that human ingenuity and spirit could prevail against even the most daunting of foes. The training facility was abuzz with activity as Jack and his team entered the final stages of preparation for the rematch against Kravax. The atmosphere was charged, a mix of tension and anticipation palpable in every corner of the room. Jack, fully recovered and more agile in his redesigned armor, moved with a renewed sense of purpose. Liam was adjusting the sensors on the armor, ensuring everything was calibrated to Jack's reflexes. "Mobility is up by 15%, and reaction time should be quicker with the new sensor array," Liam reported, tapping through the diagnostics on his screen. Mike, overseeing the combat drills, called out from the mat area, "Jack, let's run through the evasion sequence again. Remember, it's about fluidity, not just speed." Jack nodded and positioned himself, staff in hand, as a robotic sparring partner whirred to life, mimicking Kravax's known attack patterns. Jack danced around the mat, the staff a blur as he blocked and countered the mechanical strikes. Tom watched from the sidelines, analyzing every move. "Better," he shouted over the noise, "but let's mix in some unpredictability. Throw in a feint or two. Kravax won't expect you to change tactics mid-fight." Jack reset his stance, took a deep breath, and launched into the sequence again, this time integrating feints and unexpected pauses, attempting to mimic the chaos of a real fight. The robot, programmed to respond to direct aggression, faltered under the unorthodox approach. "Good, that's the way to keep him guessing," Mike called out, a grin breaking across his face. After the session, the team gathered around a holographic display showing a 3D model of the arena. Dr. Helen Choi pointed to various spots in the arena. "Based on your last fight, we noticed Kravax likes to herd his opponents into these corners. If you find yourself pushed back, use these escape maneuvers we practiced." Jack absorbed every detail, his mind racing through scenarios. "We need to control the pace this time. I dictate where the fight goes, not him." Major Saunders added, "Exactly, and remember, he's never been hit like you hit him before. He's going to come at you hard and fast, trying to end it quickly to regain his honor." The discussion turned to the psychological aspects of the fight. "He's proud, used to being the dominant force," Tom mused. "Use that, challenge his pride, make him overcommit." Jack smirked slightly. "Get under his skin, make him angry, make him careless." As night fell, the team worked late into the evening, refining every detail, from the timing of Jack's strikes to the placement of his feet on the sandy floor of the arena. Liam and Mike ran diagnostics on the armor and weapons, ensuring everything would perform flawlessly. The evening before the rematch, the team sat in a quiet conference room, the weight of the upcoming fight pressing down on them. "We've done everything we can," Jack started, looking around at the faces of his team. "Tomorrow it's down to me to put it all together. Thanks to each of you, I've got every tool, every piece of knowledge we could scrape together. We're ready." Mike nodded, clapping Jack on the shoulder. "You've got this, Jack. You're the best we have. Go out there and show that alien what Earth is made of." The team raised their glasses in a quiet toast, not just to victory, but to the incredible journey they had undertaken together. They were more than a team now. They were a unit, each member as crucial as the next. As they departed, Jack stayed behind, staring at the arena model. His mind played over every possible outcome, every move. Tomorrow, He would not just fight for survival, but for a definitive victory, one that would echo through the annals of human history. The challenge was immense, but Jack and his team had transformed uncertainty into a sharp weapon of focus and determination. The stage was set, and as the stars twinkled overhead, humanity's champion was ready to carve a new destiny, one fight at a time. The arena was filled to capacity as spectators from across the galaxy, and a resilient Earth tuned in to witness the rematch between Jack and the Gathron champion, Kravax. The air was thick with anticipation, every breath held as the two combatants entered the arena from opposite ends. Jack, in his newly refined armor, felt lighter and more agile than before. His team, standing at the edge of the arena, gave him nods of encouragement and final checks on his equipment. "Everything's green, Jack. Remember, keep him off balance," Liam whispered into the comms, a final piece of advice as the gates closed behind Jack. Kravax stood imposingly across the arena, his stance exuding confidence. As the horn sounded to begin the duel, a silence fell momentarily before the crowd erupted. The first move was Jack's. He sprinted forward, closing the distance unexpectedly quickly, taking Kravax by surprise with a series of rapid strikes to test his defenses. Kravax blocked and parried, but the ferocity of Jack's assault was unlike the first encounter. "You've learned some new tricks, human," Kravax bellowed, swinging a massive arm that Jack narrowly dodged. "Learned from the best," Jack retorted, rolling away from another sweeping blow, using his staff to vault back and create space. Tom, observing from the side, kept his eyes glued to the monitors, watching every movement. "Keep pressing, Jack. He's slower to react to your feints." Kravax, growing visibly frustrated, began to increase the power behind his blows, each swing meant to end the match with a single hit. Jack used this to his advantage, ducking and weaving around the attacks, striking at the joints and weak points Liam had identified. "His right knee, Jack. It's still weak," Mike shouted from the sidelines, pointing out the subtle hitch in Kravax's movements. Jack nodded slightly, acknowledging the tip. He feigned a high attack, then spun low, sweeping his staff at Kravax's right knee. The alien faltered, his leg buckling under the unexpected pain, giving Jack an opening to land a solid blow to Kravax's midsection. The crowd gasped as Kravax stumbled, unaccustomed to seeing their champion in such a state. Jack didn't let up, pressing his attack, driving Kravax back step by step. As they reached the center of the arena, Jack executed a series of maneuvers that combined agility and precision, keeping Kravax on the defensive. With a quick pivot, Jack found an opening beneath Kravax's arm, landing a critical hit that sent shockwaves through the arena. Kravax roared in anger and pain, swinging wildly. Jack, anticipating this, used his staff to intercept the blow, redirecting the force and using Kravax's momentum to throw him off balance. "Now, Jack, finish it!" Tom's voice was clear in his ear. With the crowd on the edge of their seats, Jack gathered his strength for a final series of strikes. He moved with a blend of tactical precision and raw power, each hit strategically aimed to exploit the weaknesses they had studied for weeks. Kravax tried to retaliate, but his movements were sluggish, the earlier hits taking their toll. With one last effort, Jack swung his staff with all his might, targeting a critical point on Kravax's armor, cracking it upon impact. Kravax fell to his knees, stunned and defeated. The arena fell silent for a moment before erupting into cheers. Jack stepped back, breathing heavily, his staff lowered in respect to his fallen opponent. General Carter, along with the rest of the team, rushed into the arena as the gates opened. They surrounded Jack, clapping him on the back and cheering. "You did it, Jack! You actually did it!" Jack, overwhelmed and exhausted, managed a tired smile. "We did it. Couldn't have done it without all of you." As they lifted him onto their shoulders, the crowd's cheers grew louder. The spectacle was over, and Jack had emerged not just victorious, but as a symbol of human capability and ingenuity. The victory was not just a personal triumph, but a monumental achievement for all of humanity. The victory in the arena reverberated around the world, as news of Jack's triumph spread like wildfire. Earth had not only defended itself against an unprecedented alien challenge, but had also emerged victorious. This unexpected outcome sparked celebrations globally, and yet, within the military command center, The mood was more somber and reflective. General Carter convened a debriefing with Jack and the core team to analyze the duel and discuss the broader implications of their victory. The room, usually bustling with activity, was quiet, the weight of their new reality setting in. "Jack, your performance was nothing short of spectacular," General Carter began, his voice tinged with both pride and the gravity of their situation. "But we need to consider what comes next. The Gathron are not known to take defeat lightly." Jack, still nursing some bruises, nodded solemnly. "I know, sir. We might have won the battle, but I suspect the war is far from over." Mike interjected. "We need to be prepared for any possible retribution. Their pride has been wounded. They'll want to strike back or challenge us again." Liam, who had been reviewing data on his tablet, looked up. "We've received communications from other alien races. It seems our victory has had ripple effects. Some are cautious, others curious. There are potential allies out there who respect strength and strategy." Tom, ever the strategist, spread a galaxy map across the table. "We need to think about diplomacy as much as defense. This victory gives us a new standing in the galaxy. We should leverage it to secure alliances and gather intelligence." Dr. Helen Choi, who had been quiet, finally spoke up. "And let's not forget the scientific gains. Studying Kravax's armor and weapons could advance our technology by decades. We need to be careful but proactive in our research." General Carter considered their inputs, his experienced eyes scanning the room. "Jack, what's your take on this? You faced him directly." Jack leaned forward, his thoughts clear. "We showed them that Earth isn't just going to roll over. We need to keep showing that. Train more people with what we've learned, enhance our defenses, and yes, build those alliances. We've got a chance now to stand on equal footing with them." The discussion moved towards practical steps. Mike suggested increasing the recruitment and training programs using the techniques that Jack had perfected. Liam and Helen proposed a joint task force to study the alien technology and integrate it into Earth's defenses. General Carter summed up the meeting. "All right, we move forward on all fronts: defense, diplomacy, and research. Jack, I want you to head up the new training program. We need warriors who can think and fight like you." As the meeting adjourned, Jack lingered behind, looking at the galaxy map on the table. The stars no longer seemed distant and unattainable. They were now arenas of potential challenge and collaboration. Jack felt a profound sense of duty, not just to defend Earth, but to represent it honorably in the eyes of the galaxy. Outside the command center, as Jack walked through the base, he was met with salutes and cheers from the soldiers and staff. Their faces reflected a mixture of admiration and newfound determination. Earth had stood up to a galactic challenge. Now it was preparing to take its place on the cosmic stage. The sun set on a day that had started with uncertainty, but ended with a clear path forward. Jack knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he also knew Earth was no longer fighting alone or in the dark. They were now a part of a larger community, and they were ready to meet the future together. The aftermath of Earth's victory brought not only a surge of pride worldwide, but also a rapid evolution in global defense strategies. At a newly established International Defense Summit, leaders and military strategists from around the world gathered to discuss the formation of a unified Earth coalition. General Carter and Jack were at the forefront, sharing insights and planning integration of the new alien technologies with Earth's military capabilities. In a large conference room filled with high-ranking officials, General Carter addressed the assembly. "The victory against Kravax was a turning point, but it's just the beginning. We need a cohesive plan and shared technologies to protect Earth against future threats." Jack took the stage next, his presence commanding attention. "Training our forces with the tactics and technology we've developed is crucial. We've seen that adaptability and innovation can tip the scales in our favor." Mike Henderson, now a liaison for tactical warfare, chimed in from the crowd. "We should also consider expanding our intelligence networks. Understanding alien politics and alliances will be key to our survival." The discussion turned technical as Liam presented the latest advancements in armor and weaponry, enhanced from the study of Kravax's gear. "We've managed to reverse engineer the most effective elements, Integrating these into our systems will provide our forces with much-needed upgrades in both offense and defense. As the strategies were debated, Dr. Helen Choi introduced a proposal for a new research initiative. We need a dedicated agency to study alien biology and technology, not only to defend, but to understand and perhaps foresee future conflicts. The room buzzed with agreement and new ideas, the collective minds working towards a singular goal: security and stability for Earth. Later, as the summit concluded, Jack met privately with Tom and a few other strategists. "We've got the momentum now, but keeping it will be the challenge," Jack pointed out, his eyes scanning over maps and data. Tom nodded, looking equally thoughtful. "We'll need continuous training programs. Maybe simulate various alien encounter scenarios. Preparation will be our best defense." "That's a good point," Jack agreed. "Let's set up simulation centers around the world, make them as realistic as possible. We can use VR, holographics, anything that helps our troops prepare for the real thing." As they discussed, Mike walked in, holding a digital tablet. "Just got word from the intelligence team. There are murmurs about another species interested in Earth, likely curious about our newfound strength." Jack raised an eyebrow. "Friend or foe?" "Unclear, but it's a reminder that our work is far from over," Mike replied. "I suggest we send out diplomatic feelers, see if they're open to dialogue." "Agreed," Jack said. "Let's not wait to be contacted. Being proactive could turn potential threats into allies." The meetings and planning sessions stretched long into the night, but the efforts were fruitful. A new framework for Earth's defense was laid out, one that not only prepared them for threats, but also positioned Earth as a formidable player on the galactic stage. As Jack left the summit, he looked up at the stars, now a canvas of opportunity and mystery. The weight of his new responsibilities was heavy, but the support from his team and leaders worldwide gave him confidence. Earth was no longer just defending. It was reaching out, ready to meet whatever challenges came next with a united front. The future was uncertain, but for the first time, humanity was truly prepared to face it together, armed with knowledge, technology, and a newfound sense of interstellar community.